What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lex Alexas. Today we've got some midweek predictions to predict for the championship straight after we have predicted for the weekend games. In terms of the prediction league, I have updated it. You should have seen it in the latest community tab. We've already made it to match day 21 if you can believe it as well. And we've got some really crucial games leading up to December's trailblazing amount of games going into the Christmas run of games. Honestly, I'm really excited to see how they're going to happen. As always, guys, I like full involvement in you guys, and thank you guys as always for the terrific support on this channel and towards this prediction league. You can carry on continuing the support for the prediction league by simply leaving your score predictions in the comments down below. That is how you can enter for free to potentially enter and to get a prize after competing. So if you guys enjoy what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel. Let's go for 50 likes again. It's a terrific target, and thank you guys so much for reaching it in the last video. Please hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It really does help as well. We're sort of creeping our way to 2,200 at the moment. I think 3k would be a terrific goal for this channel. And please also share the channel too. All three of these things are free to do, and they really do help the growth of this channel. Be massively appreciated. But without any further ado, let's start predicting the midweek games for the championship. Let's start off with Blackburn Rovers going up against Bristol City. Both would argue they would have wanted to have a better result after the last weekend's game. Blackburn, they played early on against Leeds United and got beaten pretty comfortably, I can't lie, at home by 2-0. Leeds definitely were the more comfortable side, and Blackburn really barely created anything, if I really got to be honest. You can't necessarily rely on moments or Sammy Smodik's bit of magic. You need to create more, and I think Leeds at this moment in time are really getting their rhythm on now in this season, so it's going to be very hard for many teams to get a result against Leeds. So I'm more or less looking in towards this game, because Blackburn at this moment of time, they are still competing. They are 11th place right now with 28 points, which only sees them 2 points off the top 6. So good results in this midweek game. They could really close the gap on that position on the table. Bristol City, they're a little bit further behind, but they can overtake Blackburn Rovers if they do manage to beat them here. Still only one win for Liam Manning since he's come in. Bristol City managed to salvage a point against Huddersfield Town. They were behind in the first half, but Tommy Conway, who I actually think is having quite a good season, a really good player that's gone under the radar in my opinion, and I think he's really standing out to have a really good individual season. I'm kind of pleased for him that he's some things are now starting to click into place in terms of his form here. Prediction for this game is really tough. I do back Blackburn to be the more likely team to have some goal scoring opportunities based on what I've seen with their form. Bristol City could offer something here, but they've not particularly been consistent away from home pretty much since Liam Manning has come in, unfortunately. And as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Blackburn Rovers. It really could go either way, and a draw wouldn't surprise me. But I think Blackburn could look at this game as a chance to go back to winning ways, and they have got the goal scorers that can take the game away from many championship teams. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Rovers. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game today is Huddersfield versus Preston. So Huddersfield, we just spoke about them. They played against Bristol City. They did go 1-0 up with a fantastic goal. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't all 3 points, and honestly right now with the form that QPR are showing, it's looking quite dangerous to be Huddersfield Town at this moment of time. Whilst they're not losing many games, and I'll give them credit for that, they're drawing way too many games. I think they've drawn 3 out of their last 4, and in fact 3 out of their last 4 results have been 1-1 draws. So Huddersfield have been getting to those positions and, you know, having the chance of getting a result, but whether they've gone ahead or they've had to try and salvage the game, they're not quite being able to kill these teams off at this moment of time. But against Preston, they could have a solid chance at the moment, because Preston right now are struggling. They've not scored in their last 3 matches. Against Norwich, they really did not have a big away backing, sadly. And I mean, I will sympathise. The journey from Preston to Norwich is never fun. But having said that, Preston really did not play in a way that they were really trying to give the fans that travelled all the way from Preston something in this game. They really barely threatened at all and were really sitting back. They got what they set out to do and got a 0-0 draw, but it's really, once again, another 90 minutes of no goals, and it's really going to make the Preston fans inconsistent if they cannot see some progress, considering how well they started the season too. It's been quite a steady decline. I mean, because of their great start, they're still ninth place in the table, but right now, I don't know if I've got any confidence back in them. And I think Huddersfield are more likely to get a result. They've been a bit more consistent. They've been finding the ball in the back of the net more consistently than Preston too. And as a prediction, I think Huddersfield need to win this. I think right now, based on how well QPR have been playing, they really can't afford to drop too many points. A draw wouldn't surprise me based on their current pattern of play, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Huddersfield Town. I think Preston are struggling for goals at the moment. Huddersfield, I think, know how important it is for them to actually get 3 points, especially in their home games. And I think they could really pull it out the bag here. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. A game with very little action, I'm predicting, though. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Rotherham versus West Brom. So Rotherham, for the first time this season, have now dropped to the bottom of the championship on goal difference, following Sheffield Wednesday winning their game against Stoke in the weekend and Rotherham losing their game against Swansea City. Of course, they're still looking for a permanent manager. They've not confirmed anyone yet, which really still surprises me to this day. They faced a Swansea City side where they were just managerless as well, and maybe could it be part of that managerial bounce that took them to the victory? I do think Swansea were the better side for a lot of it, but I think the game really set things, difficult for Rotherham when Daniel Ayala got sent off his 5th red card in his career. So I feel like if you can't keep 11 players on the pitch, you're always going to set yourself up to fail, unfortunately. And for Ayala to get sent off for 17 minutes, it's just stupidity. He's an experienced player. He really shouldn't be dragging his team through the mud like that. And I've got to say, Rotherham have actually had a couple of games already where they've made really stupid decisions to get themselves down to 10 men and to make things 10 times more difficult than it needs to be. West Brom would definitely want a response going into this game. They lost out against Sunderland. They were facing a Sunderland side who they just dismissed their latest manager in Tony Mowbray, so potentially that sort of part of it didn't really help. But West Brom, again, they've had a tough run in. Of course, they've had Leicester quite recently. They've now followed that up with Sunderland, and they've lost that game also by 2-1. But for the way that Sunderland commanded to that 2-0 lead, it looked very difficult for West Brom to get anything out of it. The fact they narrowed it down to 2-1, I think did kind of paper over the cracks a little bit based on how they were blown away by Sunderland for a lot of that game. They've definitely got a huge response to make, and they've got a big chance to face bottom of the table Rotherham. But I have seen them already at home that Rotherham can offer a good game for many sides. But as a prediction, I do think West Brom are a little bit more likely from getting a result. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to the Baggies. I think they could just sneak out a win, but I do think it's going to be one of those ones that will be a little bit more uncomfortable for West Brom. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Stoke versus Swansea. So the biggest breaking news coming out of me just recording just now is that Alex Neil has left his position as Stoke City manager, with Stoke currently sitting 20th place on the table and only 2 points above the relegation zone. And again with Stoke, it just feels like that they're going on this endless cycle of having good streaks but then followed by even worse losing streaks. And at this moment of time, they really are looking at a team devoid of any confidence. Something needs ripping up, whether it's a shift of mentality, a new crop of players going in. I do think at this moment of time, they have injected a lot of ingoings across the couple of years that Alex Neil, and I'm thinking of Michael O'Neill when he latest managed Stoke as well, is that there's so many different players under different managers and it's just not gelling into place. Some long-term thing needs to go round with Stoke for me if we're going to have any chance of a fix, and it's not going to be a quick fix, and I feel like a lot of Stoke fans have accepted that now, but right now with the execution of it, it's really not making things a pretty sight for them. They're facing the Swansea side where they managed to get their first win in 3 or 4 games since they dismissed Michael Duff, of course. They could have argued they were helped out with Rotherham going down to 10 men, and they did take the lead with Charlie Patino, did concede an equaliser to Nombe, but it was Jerry Yates who has been very reliable actually for this Swansea side to get them all 3 points in the end. Why do I have the greatest feeling that Stoke are going to pop up with a win with them dismissing their manager? It really does feel like the Championship. You know, we saw it with Swansea, we saw it with Sunderland. I think we'll see it with Stoke actually. So absolutely no logic because Stoke have not won in 4 games. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 Stoke City win because I know they're capable of it. And if Ryan May actually scored from the penalty spot against Sheffield Wednesday, they could have had an entirely different result. So tiny margins really make a big part of the game. And for me, I think Stoke will get a win here. I think their players will be really, really up for it and will be desperate to try and win whoever's coming in over to get frequent football. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Stoke. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Watford versus Ipswich. So both sides could argue that they've had a really positive result. Watford will not feel happy drawing 1-1 at home, but with the manner that they managed to get that point, they would be delighted because they were behind for a lot of that second half when Che Adams put Southampton ahead. But they did equalise very late on. I think it was a 97th minute equaliser with Healy getting the equalising goal. So I think maybe a bit of a sigh of relief there. And I do think performance-wise, they definitely earned at least a point. So I do felt it was a little bit fair for Watford to get something here. Ipswich, you could arguably say they've had one of the performances of the weekend, getting a 2-0 away victory against Middlesbrough. Considering the teams that Middlesbrough have beaten at the Riverside this season, that is a bloody fantastic result for Ipswich Town. I was not expecting it. I was predicting Middlesbrough to kind of sit back, control the game, and they did have a lot of the ball, Middlesbrough, but they only had one shot on target. And I'm like, oh my goodness me, a clean sheet and a perfect away performance from Ipswich. Maybe it wasn't perfect, that's probably been a little bit exaggerated, but I tell you that they had some really, really nice moments in there. Connor Chaplin and Amari Hutchison with the goals for Ipswich Town. This game, I think, is going to be very different. I think Watford are going to be incredibly physical. I do think the pace they have going forward can really attack this Ipswich back line. But Ipswich have shown that they are dangerous away from home. And we've seen that in perfect effect against a really informed side in Middlesbrough as well. As a prediction, honestly, I am really stumped. I am really, really stumped for this one. Because I can easily see Ipswich taking the lead. But I do have a feeling if Ipswich do take the lead, it would feel a little bit more likely that they could concede so many chances to Watford. And for me, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I have a feeling that Watford may even this out. And honestly, I actually don't think a draw will be a terrible result for Ipswich. And they've got a bit of a difficult situation at the moment because Morsey's on 4 yellow cards. And I feel like Ipswich are going to want Sam Morsey available for when Ipswich play against Norwich in the weekend. So it could be a bit of a tough predicament that McKenna's going to have. But I think with the squads that both these sides have, I think it'll be a draw. I can't decide between the two teams, basically. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game today is Sunderland versus Leeds. Now, what a fabulous game this could turn out to be. Sunderland, who were looking a little bit inconsistent with their form. 6th place, they now find themselves with a terrific win over West Brom. I think definitely quite a few people, including myself, didn't really back them based on how West Brom were being with their form. But Sunderland have got the crop of players to really make a game out of any side. And honestly, I think Leeds are going to have a tough game on their hands. I think if they perform as well as they did against West Brom for most of that game, then Leeds will definitely not find it easy. Leeds, however, do find themselves a bit in cruise control at the moment, but a little bit unflinched, you know, feeling a little bit unchallenged in a way. But I do think Sunderland, with the players that they got, will make Leeds work really, really hard for this. So I do think Leeds are going to have it really, really tough. Prediction here, I'm thinking with the squads, I might back the away side here. I think I'm a little bit more confident with their forward line. Rutter in good form, Somerville and Dan James scoring for Leeds in their weekend game. I think they could have a chance to be on a score sheet. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Leeds. I was debating whether there'd be more goals, but honestly, I do think both of these sides will know to try and keep the game as competitive as possible. And therefore, I think there'll be goals, but not as many as I originally thought it would be. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Cardiff versus Birmingham. Now, Cardiff have picked up a crucial win. It's their first win in quite a few games against Millwall. A 1-0 win in the end. And it did feel like a game low in quality, but Cardiff just been able to find that moment of quality where they really made their moment count. And I'm really pleased for Cardiff that they have gone back to winning ways. But for Birmingham, my goodness me, I think I saw a stat the other day that Wayne Rooney, since he's come in, has actually picked up less points in his opening couple of games than Gianfranco Zola has done when he started taking over Birmingham City, where he replaced Gary Rowett initially. And that is shocking. And I do think there is a real outcry from the fans to get John Eustace back, and it feels really, really difficult. I know these situations aren't even comparable, but I'm looking at it in a way from when Chelsea got rid of Tuchel, and then you had Potter or Lampard going in, and then it feels like a bit of a disconnect with the ownership and the fans, which is basically what I'm getting at. It's two very different scenarios and different teams, but it shows you that if you're going to make a really ruthless decision, you really got to make sure that that gamble pays off. And if it doesn't get paid off, ultimately your head will be on a spear. You need to really make sure when you gamble, you make the right call. And I just do not think that the owners for Birmingham really thought this through. I really don't. And right now, they're really paying the price for it. And I don't doubt that Wayne Rooney has got good moments within his management, but I feel it's too daunting for him at this moment of time. The pressure that he's already under, where he's barely walked in, is insane. And honestly, I think Cardiff, with how experienced they've been this season and how professional most of their players have been, I think they could really be quite comfortable here. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Cardiff. I think they will be a little bit confident. I think, again, this will be a game where Birmingham don't score a goal. I'm going to go 2-0 Cardiff. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Coventry versus Southampton. Coventry just beat Birmingham by 2-0. Two brilliant goals by Callum O'Hare. And honestly, seeing him score 2 goals, considering the injury problems he's been having, I'm really, really pleased for him. And I'm hoping it's a bit of a turning point. And it can show you how one player could really change a team. I've got to say, against Ipswich, he did look a little bit isolated and a bit quiet. But I do think here we saw Callum O'Hare back at his best. And Sakamoto, I've got to say, he was one of the shout-outs I saw in that Coventry side. And he did really, really well to get the assist for the first goal. Southampton got a point against Watford. They'll feel quite disappointed in the way and the manner that they managed to concede a 97-minute equaliser. It's happened a couple of times with Southampton already this season where they've conceded late goals. So they've got to be a little bit careful with that. It's something that I have noticed with Russell Martin, even when he was at Swansea as well. He'd have a knack of conceding late goals. So I do feel that Southampton just got to be a little bit aware of that and see if they can try and maintain control of the game for a full 90 minutes and over a 90 minutes, of course, in the case against Watford. As a prediction here, maybe Southampton will be the favourites, but I've got to say, with Coventry's results quite recently, I think they could really get a result here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Again, I don't really feel I can back either one of these teams. I think both of them can have a really solid chance of winning, so therefore, I'm going to go for a draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Leicester versus Millwall. Leicester, banging form, 49 points. I mean, this is insane. The fact that the top 3 with 20 games in are still averaging 2 points a game is absolutely mind-blowing. They shouldn't be that consistent with 20 games in. It is absolutely incredible, honestly. They managed to dismiss Plymouth pretty comfortably by 4-0. Mafadivi, again, being the star and shining out, getting 2 goals on his part there. With Millwall, they lost out narrowly to Cardiff, but again, a bit of a dismal and uninspiring performance by Millwall. I'm not really seeing too much progress, and I do think Millwall got to be quite careful because they are in that cluster of teams that are only 2 points above the relegation zone, alongside with Huddersfield and Stoke. And a couple of bad results afterwards, it could really lead them into a good amount of danger. And the difference is that, you know, Millwall have had a new manager in, and we've not really seen an upturn of results apart from their amazing win against Sheffield Wednesday. As a prediction here, I still believe that Leicester are a lot more likely to get a result. I'm therefore going to go for a 3-0 win to Leicester. It may not be as comfortable as that, but honestly, with the amount of goals they're scoring right now and how Millwall is struggling at this moment of time, I think Leicester will find it quite comfortable. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game today is Norwich versus Sheffield Wednesday. Now, honestly, I don't even know what sort of result we're going to get here, because Sheffield Wednesday are the informed team. Surprise, surprise. They're 23rd place in the table, but my goodness me, they've had back-to-back wins, and right now, they're no longer bottom of the table. Is the resurgence of Sheffield Wednesday going to carry on here? I do think it's going to be tricky. I know Norwich at this moment of time are struggling for form. They've been really inconsistent. I think that's the best way to describe Norwich this season. They've been consistently inconsistent in a way. And with that game against Preston, I definitely felt that they were the more likely side to get a result. They definitely forced more chances in that game. But again, just showing some frustrations of not having their key forward players available. And at this moment of time, they really need to start trying to get these results as consistently as possible. Could you see Norwich rest some players feeling about Ipswich on the Saturday game? Maybe we could see that. But at the same time, they need points on the board, and they can't afford to drop silly points. And how well Sheffield Wednesday are playing at this moment of time and how confident they are, you know, I'm not going to say that they're playing well in terms of results. Maybe Blackburn being the exception to score 3 goals past them. But the win they had against Stoke was a hard-fought win. It was one where they stayed within the game. They had a bit of luck on their side when Dawson saved the penalty from Mame. And of course, they managed to get a last-minute stoppage time goal. Sheffield Wednesday battled for it, and I do think they're going to battle Norwich here, and I think they'll get a goal. But I think Norwich will still somehow get a win over the line. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Norwich, but honestly, I don't think I'm particularly confident on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is QPR versus Plymouth. I mean, this is a crucial game for both of these sides. QPR, with a good result, can find themselves out of the bottom 3 if results go their way. And what's even more exciting for them as well is for the fact that they have a really good chance to get joint on points with Plymouth. Now, they won't beat them on goal difference unless they absolutely demolish them, because Plymouth, to be fair to them, have actually kept an alright goal difference. They've got a -2 goal difference, whereas for QPR, they've got a -11 goal difference. So they'll need quite a goal swing for it to go in a way in favour of QPR. But the fact that QPR can be joint on points for Plymouth is already, I think, really exciting for them. And it goes to show how Cifuentes is now getting the best out of this squad. Honestly, Willock and Chair are almost the exact same players that we saw when they were in form when Michael Beale was here. I can't believe just the quick turnaround. And it does show you that I felt that, unfortunately for Gareth Ainsworth, he was underutilising the talent that he had. And with the style that he played, it was survival football. It got QPR to survive, but it was very, very, didn't really allow the players to progress in the way that they could have. So, as a prediction here, with Plymouth having the worst away form in the league, and in fact the only side in the Championship at least to have not picked up an away win this season, I think it's going to carry on that way, sadly. I'm going to go 3-0 to QPR based on their upwards form. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. The final game to predict, guys, is Middlesbrough versus Hull City. Both of them, who've had decent form, both lost this weekend. Middlesbrough losing at home to Ipswich, and I think they will be disappointed. I definitely felt that whilst they had the ball, they were really wasteful, and they definitely didn't look like that they were going to score a lot of times. Whilst they're getting to great positions, there'd always be something that just kind of prevented them from getting the final ball for them to create a proper gilt-edged chance. For Hull, they lost out against QPR, and quite honestly, it did look like that they were out-battled for most of that game. Now, Hull, honestly, at this moment of time, I do think are showing some good progress with Rosenior, but there is that element where I do think some individual players are definitely carrying a bit of a burden to try and drag the team to get results. I'm thinking Delap and Village and Bidace, especially. If you take one or two or both of them out of the squad, in fact, then I do struggle to see the creativity, and it shouldn't be a case where a team has to rely on only one or two players to potentially get a result. So I do think a couple of players in Hull do have to step up a bit, and I do think the expectations is really heightening for Hull, and I do think they need to try and cope with that. With Middlesbrough, of course, they'll be wanting a response. They're mid-table at the moment, but only 3 points away from the top 6, so they can definitely recover after their poor defeat against Ipswich if they get a good result here. A prediction in this game, I could see a draw, but I have a funny feeling Middlesbrough may respond. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Middlesbrough. I just have a feeling they might be able to churn out a result with a little bit going their way. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, these are my predictions for the midweek games for week 21. As always guys, make sure you comment your predictions in the comments down below, as that will allow you to compete in my Let's Leicester Football Prediction League. That will wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please smash the like button. It really does help. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're not done so, and please also share the channel too. That really helps as well. And one other thing, comment down below, how excited you for Christmas on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm personally going to get a 10 out of 10 as soon as I finish work. I've only got 1 week left of work this year, so I am really excited for that. And what that will mean, more streams and more videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw any of this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care everyone.